their line speed, got to work hard to improve line speed.
Yeah, the reason for that is they need to be getting off their line harder so they can get into the faces of the Leigh side, because what Leigh are doing, and they're playing the conditions really well for me. And what's let them down is obviously given the way the penalties and a few, knock-ons and pressure passes, which has gifted Whitehaven the field position. But what they've done really well is they've been very direct. They've kept punching around that middle. They've played the conditions smart. They've had plenty of push both sides of the ruck as well. You know what I mean? And like you said, the Whitehaven aren't getting off their line, as Dave pointed out half-time. They need more line speed to try and get up, counteract that momentum that Leigh have got going forward, try and get some numbers in and make it a little bit messy. And like you say, then start to be a little bit more proactive with their marker play, etc.
Brian, only 10 points in this as we're about to kick off the second half. Is that try before half-time just going to tantalise the home side and give them maybe a false dawn in the contest, or is it
no,
they've got a genuine chance of getting back and winning this one?
What it does is give them the opportunity to act on what they should have been acting on. If they cure the middle of the ruck, if they can cure that and get themselves into the arm wrestle and a bit of parity in the speed of the play the ball six, they have every chance. But they've got to take the opportunity now. They've had 10 minutes to think about it.
Restart then from Jamie Rooney. That's Bob Bezic with that first drive back for the visiting side, the Leigh Centurions. 16 points to 6 ahead. 3 tries in that first half, as you saw in that half-time wrap from Martin Ridyard, Greg McNally and Sean Penkovic, the former Halifax man, giving them a 16-0 lead at one stage, and then Craig Calvert with the try in the dying seconds of the first half, giving hope to the home side, who are defending at the moment in the Leigh half of the field. Penkovic with the ball out on that right-hand side. Players' numbers are getting more and more difficult to recognise in the mud here, as Ridyard puts in the kick, picked up by Chris Fleming at the back then for Whitehaven. The ball skidding around on this greasy surface, but you've got to say, actually, both sides have handled conditions pretty well, given that they are pretty treacherous, particularly down this side of the ground.
You wouldn't say there'd been an overt amount of forced errors, would you? You wouldn't say anybody's taken their rolling their sleeves up and said, I'm going to force an error. I think it's been on the back of the, as you say, in the main, it's been a lack of concentration, somebody getting clean balled, somebody knocking on at dummy half. So, it's a concentration thing.
Love that expression in a rugby league game, clean bowled. Is it LBW out there somewhere?
Well, it's when somebody's got their hands up and it goes straight through. You just hits them in the chest, and for me, that's being clean bowled.
Jamie Rooney with the kick. And fielded by John Pownell down this near side, the Centurions winger. One of 2 or 3 men on display this evening in the Team of the Week last week on Premier Sports. Lovely little half break down centre field.
I thought it was a penalty. I think Seiss was impeded there by the runner, and for some time as well.
Matt Gardner,
maybe been too smart for me and tried to play for it.
Here's Tom Spencer.
There it is, see. Oh no, man, it's a poor read from Seiss.
Right across the chest of James Taylor. It was Bob Bezic who took the ball, and he's some 25 metres now from this Whitehaven line. Early chance to mount some pressure here for the visiting side. And the break is down this near side by Gardner, who's running straight towards the post, get the ball back on the inside. And the Centurions are in for the score, right next to the upright.
Simon Finnegan, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
Simon
Finnegan
who's
managed to get his way across by the left-hand upright.
Nice play.
Ridyard again. Ridyard and McNally are just tearing the team apart. And I think it was Gardner in the end that frees. Yep. Aidy Gardner. Simon Finnegan. Straight from the practice field. McNally out the back. Ridyard, McNally. Poor read from the defender, Whitehaven defender.
Yep.
Becomes too hard to defend.
In, jams
Absolutely. Jams in when he should have been buying himself a little time, getting a little bit of help from the end. But you have to say the spine of Leigh's team is tearing Whitehaven apart at the moment. Penkovic, Bezic chiming in there, Ridyard playing well, and McNally out the back.
And it's like I said at half-time before, what Leigh have done really well, they've played the conditions for me a lot better. They've been very direct, they've ran hard, they've had push both sides of the ruck. Like I said, and obviously Whitehaven haven't had that impetus getting off their line with line speed and getting their bodies in front to win that wrestle and contact. And like you say, the only thing that has let them down is their errors and the penalties, which has gifted Whitehaven the field position. But for me, I think Leigh have, they deservedly to be where they are in the lead. That was nice play there. I really thought it was nice play. Good decision to hit out the back. He'd seen the defender had jammed in. He decides to hit out the back. That creates a space. Nice short pass out of Gardner. And it's a simple support play for Finnegan on the inside. Finish as well.
Is it fair to say that when they get into an attacking position, Leigh just seem to know more about what they want to do?
They're more clinical.
Yeah.
You know, they seem that, like you said, they ask more questions. Their line runners are punching with some punch. You know what I mean? They've got options outside, inside. Like you say, they're just more clinical in what they're doing.
I just go back to your early statement, Hendo, that they paint this field in the main to go north to south. And Leigh have done that really well early doors. And they can't do all the things we've seen with the clever stuff until they've done that tough stuff first. And that's what Whitehaven haven't come to terms with. When it gets to the fringes, trust me, Jonathan, it's too hard a decision sometimes. You're faced with 2 and 3 players into passing skills. You can make a wrong decision and look a fool. They've just got to cure this middle part of the field of Whitehaven and try and get some kind of ascendancy in there.
The voice of Brian Noble, former Great Britain coach, on Premier Sports with you this evening. 22 points to 6 in favour of the visiting Leigh Centurions here at the recreation ground, Whitehaven. And it's Haven who are defending at the moment. The kick is from Martin Ridyard, and that's going to turn.
Great kick.
Fullback Neil Thorman, yeah, he's got to run that one right out from underneath his own post, and a good chase as well. Brings him up 9 metres short of his own line. Plenty of work to do here for the home side.
Great carry.
And he was on the floor for plenty of time there, wasn't he? James Newton, I think it was, who carried the ball. Scott McAvoy, I should say, down this near side the right.
Do you know what? He did 75% of a great job there, McAvoy. He got to his front and then he was manhandled by one Leigh defender and slowed the play the ball down. So the next carry became really hard. What I'm trying to impress upon our watchers is that if you're carrying the ball after somebody that's played the ball slowly, you're confronted by 3 and 4 people. You don't have much of a chance. If you can get a bit more ruck speed, it might go down to 1 or 2 people. And then if somebody supports you, that takes the attention of another one of those people, and all of a sudden you've a one-on-one opportunity.
Yeah, well watched out the back by Greg McNally, then Simon Finnegan, scorer of that previous try that got Leigh on the board once again in this second half. And the Centurions just making that little bit more from these dummy half runs. Ryan Briley this time, just inside that Whitehaven half of the field. Now it's with Bezic, former London Broncos man, of course. 35 metres out. They've still got centre field here, the Leigh Centurions. Penkovic looks to skip off that left foot in the end. Again, steals a few cheeky metres before he's held there by Lee Patterson. Penalty going the way of the Leigh Centurions. First one of the second half. Whitehaven are winning on the penalty count, but not on the scoreboard here. And they're going to have some more defensive work to do here, Andrew Henderson.
Yeah, they certainly are, and again, you know, their own worst victims. You know, they're just not got that line speed that Dave addressed it at half-time, and again, they've got to be more aggressive, get off their line. The markers have got to be working better. For me, Leigh just rolling down the hill too easily.
James Taylor with that drive for Leigh, who was sniffing out another opportunity here for try number 5. It was Ridyard who got the ball away. It's come up out of a melee of players there in the arms of Simon Finnegan once again. Now it's with Michael Ostick, isn't it? Oh, Bob Bezic. It's hard to tell who's got the ball in these conditions. He's held up over the Whitehaven line. It was Bezic, in fact, who attempted to get the ball down by that left-hand upright, much in the same position as Finnegan had scored in a few minutes ago. Play's going to restart on the 10 then. Penkovic down this short side. Kicks coming from Ridyard.
Well done, Neil Thorman.
Yeah, well
nice, good work.
First drop out of the game then will go against the home side.
That's a great kick from Ridyard. He's played well tonight. He's orchestrated well.
He has played well.
Do you know what? That's the first time. And I heard them screaming, get a deal, get a deal.
I heard that.
What that means is just roll the ball in the in goal. We'll get 6 more players. Don't worry about the pass play to try and score a try. Build some pressure and increase the pain upon this Whitehaven creaking defence, you have to say, at the moment.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, Centurions then, who did the double over Whitehaven the last time these two sides met in league competition back in the 2010 season. Looking for a third win in succession. At the moment, lead by 22 points to 6 in possession here with Sean Penkovic. Now it's with big Tom Spencer.
He's a big lump, isn't he, Spencer?
A lot of work to do, muscling up in defence here for Whitehaven then, as Penkovic comes down this near side, the left, gets the ball away to the big
good tackle.
number 4, Matt Gardner.
Jeez.
McAvoy that
Good
stopped
effort,
him
yeah.
dead. He's a big bloke.
Had to be made.
Matt Gardner.
Yeah, Matt Gardner slopping around in a paddy field down this near side at Whitehaven as Ridyard has possession of the football now. Gets it away. Out there to Brierley. And Leigh attacking that Whitehaven line once again. And referee Martin Thomason says they've gone in for their 5th try of the evening. And it's been given the way of number 12, Tommy Goulden, by the looks of things.
Yes, Tommy Goulden's got over there. And he's too big and too strong with a one-on-one opportunity at the end here. And they keep the ball alive, the lead. Penkovic shows the great vision from dummy half and picks out Matt Gardner. And whether you think it was slightly high or not, that's a fair stop from McAvoy at that kind of pace. Had to be made. And then Bob Beswick, the architect, on the right-hand side to Ridyard, has been at the heart of everything. McNally again, the partnership, if you like. And Tommy Goulden from there is not going to be stopped, is he? Just too strong, too big. And Neil Thorman can't do much about that at all. Nice little spin right at the right time as well as the man hit him. Yeah.
Nice hit and spin to finish. And again, they just seem to be scrambling a little bit there on their own line there, you know.
Second set, built the pressure, get a deal. We know we're good. We know we can score in this part of the field.
So Martin Ridyard with the extra 2.
Played well tonight, I think, Ridyard.
I think so. I think both halves. I think Beswick's done a good job too. He's probed on his side. Ridyard's orchestrated well down on the right flank there. And again, McNally's chimed in well out the back. But again, as you pointed out earlier, Brian, the forwards have really laid the platform. They've allowed the foundation. I mean, and it's given them the time and space of the halfbacks to be able to play. And there's been some fantastic line runners on the edges. And McNally out the back. You know, they're quite a devastating team when they play well, Leigh.
They look strong up front, you know. Spencer's carried the ball strong. Parker and Oster when he'd been out there, and they just haven't been managed to get to grips with this. And the options around the ruck for Sean Penkovic and Beswick when he's jumped in there, either side of the ruck, they've got runners and options, and little pass plays and dummy plays are really helping them.
Hesitate to say that the 2 points are bound back for Leigh. 28 points to 6. We've seen games turn around in the last half hour from much bigger deficits than this, but a game of momentum, and Leigh have that momentum at the moment. And it's the Centurions then. Kick is in from Ridyard, fielded behind his own line from Chris Fleming. Again,
they're doing a lot of little things right at the moment, the Centurions.
They're playing the game perfect in these conditions. Like I said, they're playing direct, they're running hard, they're not overplaying, they've been patient, they've kicked into space well, they've kicked chase, they've just been a bit sharper, they've just been a bit more quicker in everything they've done, a bit more energy about them, and to be fair, Whitehaven are struggling to keep up with the pace, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, here's Carl Seiss. Southern it was that got the ball away. It was a lovely take from Jesse Joe Parker, that left centre for Whitehaven. 20 metres short of the halfway line. Plenty of work, though, once again to do for Whitehaven as Paul Jackson takes up the next carry. Can they find a way through? Kicks come in from Seiss on this occasion. Fielded at the back then by Greg McNally. Here's John Pownell. Good chase from James Cameron. And that has come free but gone backwards and been wrapped up by one of the Centurions players, with Paul Jackson attention firmly upon him.
I think he's adjudicated it. It went back there.
I think it was fair enough as well. Good call from ref Thomason. John Pownell down this near side then for the Centurions.
Good play.
Lovely ball inside from Matt Gardner.
It was a good ball from Gardner as well.
Here's Penkovic. Support then is from Ridyard. And down centre field, they're trying to get this ball away. Like it was Rob Parker, I think, who was in possession. Very difficult to tell once you get beyond halfway across this field. And that's with the floodlights working properly. Here's Martin Aspinwall for the Centurions. 30 metres from this Whitehaven line. Penkovic will put the kick in over the top. It's well read, though, out the far side by try-scorer Craig Calvert for Whitehaven, but he's been pulled to the deck, 10 metres short of his own line. And once again, the Centurions just a little bit smarter, maybe a little bit more enthusiastic I think, on the home side at the moment.
And clinical in what they're doing.
I like that word from Hendo. Clinical. We've seen Whitehaven practically start every set in their own 20 metres this second half, and that is just a way to put nails into the coffin of this Whitehaven team tonight. They've come out and they're playing what we call rugby tough, Leigh.
They certainly are, and Whitehaven doing it tough in midfield here. 28 points to 6. They're trailing this one. Kicks come in from Sice once again from acting halfback. And there you can see holding in that puddle just beyond the halfway line. McNally will return that with a little bit of interest for Leigh, who are back once again inside the Whitehaven half of the field, the home side having to defend once more. Here's Gardner.
For the viewers at home, you know, we start to see, as we pointed out, Whitehaven are taking the ball out of their own 10 or 20-yard line. Leigh are collecting the ball on their own 30, 40, even the halfway line there. So the field position battle, the arm wrestling that we talk about, and Leigh are certainly in control of the field position battle.
And got away with one there, a forward pass from Sean Penkovic to Martin Aspinwall, and certainly looked it from our commentary position at least. Here's Ridyard, scorer of that opening try for the Leigh Centurions. Brought to ground by that 2-3 man Whitehaven posse some 20 metres out. Chip over the top is from Ridyard, well picked out at the back once again by Chris Fleming, I think it was, down this near side. Whitehaven then trying to find some space against this near side whitewash. Scott McAvoy, but having to do it once again from deep inside their own half, and this really is going to take its toll in the closing stages of the game, not only in terms of what they can achieve when they get down into the field, Brian, but I guess just energy levels sapped. A couple of chances maybe for Leigh. Points on the board.
What Leigh are doing is front-loading their energy at this part of the field. That means they're putting extra effort into their defensive line speed so that Whitehaven can't establish a decent kick to even try and restrict them. So they're doing all the little things right, as we said before, and Leigh have restricted it. It's only been 20 metres there, then they get a penalty, and that's the only way I could see Whitehaven getting out of their own half.
Yeah, if Leigh were clinical first half with those 3 tries from very few opportunities, then they're certainly winding it up a notch in this second half. But they've just given Whitehaven a sniff of an opportunity here. 28 points to 6, the home side trails into the 57th minute, so the clock is not their friend. And it's Whitehaven in possession then, down that far side of the field. The ball was from Carl Sice, who's certainly been as good as anything out there on the field since he came on for Whitehaven. He's in again at dummy half following the tackle on Jesse Joe Parker. Here's Southernwood, looks for the runners. Paul Jackson was a dummy runner. Here's Rooney, gets the ball away.
Thorman.
Out to Neil Thorman.
Yeah.
Who just couldn't see an opening down this near side, the right. Tried to go short side and made an extra 5 metres or so. Southernwood with the long ball out for Jesse Joe Parker. It's gone to ground on the far side. And it was Craig Calvert who managed to get back and spare his teammates blushes for a moment there.
Well, that's not a penalty. That should be a scrum to Leigh. That's the right call. He wasn't tackled and he wasn't going anywhere, so somebody had to put some hands on him somewhere. So he said, right, I'll throw you in a touch then.
I'll tell you something, Brian, I've been really impressed with Leigh's defensive effort in the second half, you know. When they're carrying out a backfield, their line speed, they're getting numbers in, they're making it messy, they're unloading really well, so the defensive line's set for the next play. And their line defence there, it's not been tested a lot this half, but again, they look comfortable, working together really well. Whitehaven have nothing, they just can't get through, they can't offer anything, get through, because the defensive line is working together really well. We've got to give credit to Leigh where credit's due. But unfortunately, mistake made now by the Centurions, it looks.
Yep, knock on at the scrum, the referee's adjudicated.
Yeah, so 22 minutes remaining. 22 minutes for Whitehaven to bridge a 22-point gap, and they're in possession. 15 out from that Leigh Centurions line, far side of the field. Jesse Joe Parker. Ball back on the inside was with Dave Houghton, driven back by some stout Centurions defence. What have Whitehaven got to offer on this rare attacking opportunity in the second half? Jamie Rooney gets the ball away, but that one's been grasped by James Cameron, former Burley Bear.
It's just one of those nights for Whitehaven, isn't it? They're just And do you know what, that's what happens when you... and this is not being disparaging or trying to be disrespectful to the White, but they've been out-muscled tonight.
Yeah, they have.
You know, in whichever way, shape or form you look at it, defensively and even offensively, they've not coped with the physical prowess of the lead team. Now, that might change in any other given week or any other given minute, but they certainly haven't collectively muscled up the Whitehaven team to try and stop this ebb and the flow that Leigh have.
Coach Dave Wood said before the game he was looking for this team to be a little less naive with ball in hand. Have they achieved that, Andy?
Oh, I could say that they've really achieved it. I mean, they've probably tried to overplay at times when it's not been on. But for me, they haven't played particularly bad. They just haven't been allowed to play because of the intensity and the level that Leigh are playing at. And as Brian pointed out, they've been out-muscled. They're just struggling to deal with it. But anyway, Sykes makes a half break now. A little bit of hope now for Haven on the line, on the attack. Oh, he's lost it. Penalty.
Do you know what? They got the ball in the right part of the field there because Paul Jackson decided to roll his sleeves up and get stuck into Rob Parker and forced an error. I mean, the court adjudicated this one from Finnegan as a ball steal. So it's Finnegan, yeah, deemed to a ball steal on Sykes, I think it is. And now they've got great field position, Whitehaven. They need to make every opportunity here.
Yeah, real opportunity then for the home side.
Good footwork.
And it was good footwork from James Cameron, got round the first man. As I was saying, signed this year fresh from down under from the Burley Bears. And having a little bit of an impact here by Whitehaven down the left-hand side with Jackson. Lee Patterson's just taken up the position down that short side, the far side, but they're going to move it down the open side. Jamie Rooney was expecting a pass, but the Centurions' defence was up pretty quickly. And the carrier unable to get the ball away. He's going to go down short side, but here is Sykes from acting half-back. Lost it. A couple of metres out, but he's
lost the ball, has he?
Possession of the football. Or has he? What's the ref giving here?
Looking at the video, he's asked the video ref just to have a look at it to see if it's been stripped or whether Sykes has actually lost it.
Ball steal, penalty, Workington.
Ian Smith, our video ref on Premier Sports this evening. So I'll make it 9 penalties to 4 in favour of the home side in the game so far. No complaints on the penalty count, trailing by 28 points to 6. They've got another opportunity here though. First sustained spell of pressure inside the Leigh 20 for the Whitehaven side. Can they come up with some points to show for it? There was 19, Paul Culneen. A little skip across the line. Bringing on Scott McAvoy here down this near side, the right. He's looking to get the ball off to Chris Fleming. His right wingman can't do so. Here it's James Cameron. 3-4 metres from that Centurions line. Will play the ball now to Sykes. Inside to Rooney. Here's Southernwood. As they go across the line, tries to put the kick in. He's got the ricochet back off the Leigh defence. Did he play at that ball?
I thought he did, but he hasn't got it.
He's not given it, he's not wiped the count back down to 0. Another little chip on the far side. And they're asking for another set of 6 out there, the Whitehaven players. But once again, not the case as the referee. 5 tackles gone. The chip will come in over the top from Kane Southernwood. Well read and taken at the back by Greg McNally.
Good bravery. And again, guys, it just shows how well the Leigh are defending. The last 3 plays there that they attacked there, they had to try and put a kick through because they had no other option. They can't find a way through them, so they're just thinking possibly the kick option's the only way we're going to break this Leigh defence down. So that's a compliment for me to the Leigh defence. And again here, brave take by McNally. Leaps up high, takes it confidently. Oh, no!
It's 3 sets on their own line, then gives them the ball back for a 4th.
It's tear your hair out time. Paul Jackson, maybe he's been doing that. He's the bald-headed figure of Jackson driving towards the Centurions line. Real opportunities here for Whitehaven. Here's Sykes at acting halfback. Gets the ball away then to Paul Culneen. 10, 15 metres or so. In fact, within 10 metres now on the Centurions line.
This is a right call, this. I think there's a head knock in the middle of the field. Is it Penkovic?
Rob Parker, is it?
Looks like Rob Parker to me. It is indeed. Nothing wrong with your nothing wrong with your eyesight.
I am half Brian's age, so.
He's smacking the gob. It is a head injury, but that hurts. I think his teeth have gone through his lip. Let's have a look here. Jackson. Oh, clash of heads. Aye, they hurt. You have to say Jackson's manned up this second half, hasn't he? And
he has.
defensively
Well, he's tried to lift them, hasn't he? He's tried to bring some sort of intensity to the Haven cause.
Here are Haven then stretching out towards that line down the far left-hand side. Sykes in again, an acting halfback once again. Southernwood to Rooney. Here's support down the right-hand side from James Cameron, who's going to go in now to acting halfback. Rooney once again. The line speed once more though from the Leigh Centurions, straight out off that line. And not a single centimetre, I don't think, made there by Whitehaven, who are on the last tackle of this set. Kick will come in, will it, from Southernwood? There he goes to the skies.
Good
lovely
play.
Long ball out the far side. And a lovely try in that left-hand corner from Craig Calvert, the second of the game for him. Or is it square in the air, says referee Matt Thomason. Let's get across and join video referee for the night, Ian Smith. See what he makes of this one.
There's no obstruction. The Leigh defender goes to Whitehaven, so it's just touch and grounding. So he's got hold of it, But if you just jog that one back, please. Just jog it back. Just go forward, frame by frame, then just pause it on the ground. Keep going. Couple more. He's still got it. Pause it there. That's good enough for me. That's a try. That's a try, Matt.
Great finish from Calvert, wasn't it? Great finish. And that's the first time that on the back of 4 sets on their own line, they've opened up. Size finds Southernwood, finds Thorman, who misses 2 people out. They've got the numbers on the fringe. Calvert's still got this to score. I tell you what, Hendo, this has to be scored, because you've got a couple of Leigh defenders firing across in desperation.
It's a fantastic
good finish.
And I want to point something out, Brian. It's probably the first time tonight I've actually seen Southernwood square up at the line. He's gone to the line, he's squared up, which is fixed and held the defender. Somebody running a line with a bit of punch, which gets Bezic interested, so he jams in, creates a space for Thorman out the side. But great read from Thorman to get the long pass out to Calvert unmarked. And as you said, great finish from Calvert with the cover defence from Leigh. They'll be disappointed with that lead, because they've defended so well this half. But a fantastic try. Great play, nice pass there from Thorman. Out in front for Calvert to run onto, and a classy finish.
They've got to be encouraged, guys, from the fact that they have gone down there. They have had some pressure, and they've turned it into points.
Well, it took some while. You know, the secret for me and the key for me is that was the first time that Whitehaven have played with a win, what I call a little bit of ruck speed, because for the rest of the evening, they've been playing at Leigh's pace, Leigh's defensive pace, and haven't managed to create anything on the fringe because they haven't played the ball quickly enough, is what I was saying. They got 2 quick wins on the bounce there in that set of 6, which gave them the opportunity for both Rooney and Southernwood to square at the line, let Thorman, the fullback, chime in and make his play, make his pass play.
Whitehaven then from deep once again. Colneen, veteran, brought forward. 35 years of age, but there's life in the old legs at this moment in time, at least, and they've got the penalty. Takes them into double figures on that count. Whitehaven with 10 in the game so far. And we'll restart play down this near side there, right, with Scott McAvoy. A couple of little hitch kicks in there. He's still going nicely and rejuvenated by that second Calvert try for his team. Here's James Cameron just inside the Leigh half of the field. Carl Sykes. Now it's with Jackson, bless you, Brian Noble. Paul Jackson. Not having a sneezing fit himself. Here's Carl Sykes. Carl Sykes in possession for the Whitehaven side then. 2-3 Centurions men up there to make the tackle. Penalty going the way of the home side once again, so momentum has swung back towards Dave Woods' team here.
And again, it's amazing when a team scores a try that they get a spring in their step. They start to carry on with a little bit more vigour, a little bit more punch, a little bit more fight when they're trying to play the ball. This is what Whitehaven has showed these last couple of sets, and they're getting the results with penalties off the back of it.
Not impossible, an 18-point deficit to turn around here inside the last 14, 15 minutes. Don't forget, of course, if Whitehaven score a converted try here, they finish within 12 points. They get a bonus point as far as the Kingston Press Championship standings are concerned, they're going to pick up another penalty here. Further pressure on this Leigh defence, and whereas they were making Whitehaven, well, play to the way they wanted them to do inside their own 20 at one stage, they're now just having to be on their mettle here, and Whitehaven driving towards the line out there on the far side of this recreation ground field. Trying to make it into a third try in the contest. Both so far have gone the way of Craig Calvert, that left winger. Southernwood brings on the runners. Lee Patterson is the man who takes possession of the football some 15 metres or so from the line. Lee stacking up the defence near side, but they're going to switch open side. Jackson gets the ball away there to Culneen. Just inside the Leigh 10-metre line now. The dash from acting half is going to be by Carl Seiss once again. Short side is that they call. James Cameron screaming for the ball on this near side. Lee Patterson also wants to get involved. Jamie Rooney comes this way. Little flick on is for Patterson, but it's flicked again, more out of hope than confidence, and makes its way into touch on the near side. So
just think it was an execution issue there. I think they created the numbers with Rooney wrapping around. Nice little flick on, another little flick on, and if he collects it, it's a score. But just they created the numbers again, and that's play on, definitely. Just didn't quite go to hand. And
I think I don't know who the player was outside Rooney. I think it was Southernwood. If he could have caught it and then hit the man out the back, it would have been try time. He obviously felt a little bit hurried because the defensive line had got in his face and he had to try and tip it on there. But you're right, they created an opportunity there, Whitehaven, and just unfortunately couldn't capitalise on it.
Leigh in possession then. 18-point margin in their favour. Just over 12 minutes remaining. The recreation ground, all sorts of issues today.
Nice, Jackson.
I think Jackson's really lifted this Whitehaven team in his second stanza of the second half. He's forced a couple of errors defensively. He's put his body on the line offensively, found some ruck speed for them. And then we've seen the prowess of both Sutherland, to be fair, and Rooney, and Thorman chiming in from the back.
Here a Leigh then. Bankovic in at acting half-back. Tom Spencer certainly cuts an imposing figure. The big Centurions forward will be just about as big as there is out there on the recreation ground this evening. Long raking kick comes in, well read and taken by Neil Thorman, who's dummying his way past nobody, 10 metres off the Leigh line. Eventually takes the tackle of Bezic.
Couple of big lumps out there, Hopkins and Spencer.
Oh, big boys.
Here's Seiss. He's going to get the ball back by hook or by crook, and Carl Seiss not going to hang around to see if that was a knock-on or not. He's going to continue towards halfway for the home side, looking for a third score of the evening. Jamie Rooney on to Jackson. Good support from Thorman, but in the end takes that three-man tackle, headed up by Martin Aspinwall. Here's Rooney. Now the ball out to the near side was to Chris Fleming, who had no option really but to try and step his way in off the right foot. With the touchline approaching, very difficult to keep his feet down the near side. The chips come in from Jamie Rooney. Kane Southernwood is there, putting some pressure on and forcing the fumble there. The error was by Sam Hopkins of the Centurions.
Yeah, momentum with Whitehaven at the moment. They're showing a little bit more energy, aren't they? Since they scored the try, a couple of good sets, so they got rewarded with a couple of penalties because they had a little bit more vigour and punch in what they were doing, and a little bit more fight about them when they were playing the ball. And again, you know, it was a decent set from Leigh, just nice and simple, as they've been off the back, put under a lot of pressure recently. Good kick away, but a good kick return from Thorman, got him on the front foot, and poor skills.
It was a great take in the end from Jesse Joe Parker off his bootlaces in difficult conditions.
Didn't he knock on?
It was touch and go, I think, is possibly an expression that might be valid there, Mr. Noble.
Yes.
Here's Jamie Rooney. He's got support then from Culneen down centre field. Culneen straight and hard towards the post. 20 metres or so away from that Leigh line. What can Whitehaven offer? The chip over the top is from Rooney. Chance down this near side. The right was for Chris Fleming, but the ball just skidded on as it bounced. It didn't do him any favours.
I thought he was going to get there for 1 second.
Was that the ground that stopped him? He was there.
He was there. That's what I thought. I thought he was going to get there.
Great kick from Rooney, you know, and this is because he's on the front foot. He can do these things for you. That's a great kick. Oh,
he came in, didn't he?
Got
Too
beaten
early.
by the off break.
He came into the ball a little bit too early there. If he just held his width there on the chalk, he probably would have got that.
I think it's time to pull up stumps on the cricket analogies.
I'm telling you, it was a bounce of the ball and the break of the ball that did him. He should have, like if he said, if he held his width and held his chalk, he's gone hunting for the ball and the ball was coming to him.
Yeah, correct.
I need a pint. I've got a 3-hour drive back with you. Penalty goes the way of the Leigh Centurions.
That's a very relieving penalty for Leigh, that. They've been under the pump. They've been under the pump a little bit, haven't they, in the last sort of five or 6 minutes.
And if you coach Woods at Whitehaven, you'll focus on this part of the game.
Positive end
you'll
of the,
say
end
that
of the game.
So listen, when we did this, this happened for us.
Certainly a very positive start to the second half for the visiting side. 2 tries in the opening 10 minutes of the second half there for Simon Finnegan and Tommy Goulden, but gradually Whitehaven have played themselves back into this game, and they've had the better of the last 15-20 minutes or so.
Knock on, it forced another error.
Well, the knock-on will go against the Leigh Centurions, so once more, chance on halfway for Whitehaven to build towards the post, to build some pressure.
Amazing how your luck changes when you get in the faces of people and trying to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen to you.
That's testament to the Whitehaven side, showing a bit of character anyway to the end of this game. Get themselves back into it. They're still at the 100 bonus point, aren't they?
Really good carry from McAvoy, was it?
Yes, McAvoy was. Scott McAvoy.
I think he's played quite well tonight.
Oh, he's a handful. He's a big, strong kid there on the edge. He's a handful. You know, he's got a good late step as well.
Here's Cameron. Bounces off one, takes a second man with him. Not Gardner having the devil's own job of holding him there, but does so in the end. Whitehaven with the field and possession of the football once again. Here's Rooney. Long ball is from Southernwood out there to Jesse Joe Parker.
Good play by Steve Maiden there. Good
close.
Well. Read that play well, got up and closed the play down. Good wing play.
Yeah, off the left foot down that far side once again. There's Calvert. Down centre field. We've got James Newton. Puts the chip in over the top. It's going to put some pressure on at the back there for Leigh. And, chances in the far corner.
Close.
The ball's been touched dead.
Well, they're hunting for this bonus point, aren't they? They're still in with a shout, Whitehaven.
Certainly are. Newton with the left foot dink over the top. Too many outs. Didn't the Leigh player take that out? Yeah, he did, yeah. Goal line drop out. Well done, Newton. Great kick, great touch on his kick.
Come on.
Drop out then for the Centurions. Inside the final 7. Whitehaven 10, Leicester 28. It's all about the bonus point here for Whitehaven. If they get a converted try here, then they will pick up the 1.
Just for the viewers at home, the bonus point is awarded. If you lose by 12 points or less, you are awarded a bonus point.
Move, discipline. Oh, Joe, discipline.
Jamie Rooney is in possession.
He's been in the game this last 30 minutes, hasn't he, Rooney? Mentioned him far more than we were.
Certainly has. But the Whitehaven side putting the ball to the floor once again.
But again, it's come off the back of what you say. Whitehaven have had a little bit more fight, a little bit more character. You know, they're starting to run harder. You know, they've got a little bit more belief about themselves, and it's Creighton also gives Rooney the time and space to play a bit more.
Come on.
Gives him the opportunity, like any halfback does. They want time and space with the ball, don't they?
And then stay.
The Whitehaven forwards can take a bit of credit. They've muscled up a bit, certainly, since the reintroduction of Paul Jackson coming off the bench. He's given them that lift and brought a bit of intensity back to him in the middle.
Yeah,
good.
Going forward now, Whitehaven.
Yeah, plenty of enthusiasm now.
Newton really fired up.
It came in from James
Jackson,
Newton.
The lead from Jackson in the second half. There goes Newton again. And
real effort now from the home side. They're trailing by 28 points to 10. It's the Centurions, let's not forget, who have that 18-point lead. Come here with a 1-1 win-loss ratio in the first couple of rounds.
Smart kick
against 100%ers here in Whitehaven. It look like they're certainly going to lose that record now. as it's Chris Fleming who fields that deep kick
One.
midway inside his own half.
Well, smart play from Bob Bezic there. You know, Hopkins had a really good carry, got his nose through. They've struggled to get out of the back half there, but Hopkins had a real strong carry. It was an early kick. He saw that he got in the front foot. He had time and space to kick into. Smart play there from Bezic.
Whitehaven then with Carl Seiss.
Wait. Go.
Will play the ball then to James Newton. Approaching halfway. Whitehaven, what we're inside the final. 5 minutes of play here. Seiss once again, but the ball just behind his man. Just the timing of the run, and I think you've got to say also credit there in defence to James Taylor, the Leigh Centurion substitute, who just managed to hold him up a little bit longer than he wanted before getting the ball away. Long pass out on the far side is to Craig Calvert once again. He's got support on the inside from Jamie Rooney, and Jesse Joe Parker was trying to go with him as well. Whitehaven sniffing out that bonus point if they can get a converted try here. Rooney's put the ball to ground, but it's going to be a try on the far side for Jesse Joe Parker, is it? Referee Thomason will go upstairs to video ref Ian Smith. Will this be given? If so, a converted try here for Jesse Joe Parker would mean a bonus point for Whitehaven. Let's see what Ian Smith makes of it.
So just run this through. Play on. Grounding. Yeah, that's a try, Matt. That's a try.
So the try has gone the way of Jesse Joe Parker. Whitehaven have got that third score of the game. It's down to Jamie Rooney now to try and boot them the extra couple of points to just bring them one up on the board in what's obviously going to be a defeat here, boys. But I guess on the second half effort, Andy, no more than Whitehaven deserve.
And I was just about to say that, nothing short than they deserve. You know, they've got themselves back in this game because they've decided to roll their sleeves up. They've decided to take it to them, and they have done. You know, they've put Leigh under a lot of pressure in this back half of the second half there. And the play was before. Southernwood going to the line. They had the overlap, 4v3. He elects to throw the cutout pass. Calvert holding the chalk there, holding the width. Gets on the outside of his opposite man, Maiden. Makes the initial line break. Off the back of that, Rooney. Good vision from Rooney because they came out to put a bit of kick pressure on him, but they were a little bit lazy on the inside there. He steps back and he had a little bit of space and time. Managed to get his nose through, get the offload away there. And it was a simple pick up there for Jesse J. Parker, you know, against a scrambling Leigh defence there around the middle. Can he add the extras?
And Jamie Rooney has missed with that conversion from the far side, so they're going to finish, at the moment at least, a couple of points short of that bonus point. Still time, 2.5 minutes or so to go. Brings it to the next point, Brian.
Just shows you the difference in time. We saw Southernwood playing at the line down the short side in the first half and missed it by a mile. A little bit to go forward, and going forward, Southernwood opens up down the short side for Rooney to capitalise again, looking at his opportunities under kick pressure and going back and getting them over the line.
Brian, man of the match. We've seen what points from Martin Ridyard, plenty of involvement from Sean Penkiewicz for Leigh. We've also seen some great stuff second half, in particular from Carl Seiss for the home side. How do you see it?
Well, I think he's just his speed out the back, and I think Ridyard has been pivotal in the game and done very, very well. But I think Greg McNally is what he's done, and his defensive play as well at times, kicking the ball out dead and being there. I think Greg McNally has proved the difference for this Leigh team tonight. Look really, really quick and strong.
Greg McNally then. MOM at the recreation ground, where it's Leigh Centurions who lead by 28 points to 14 inside this final couple of minutes.
Surrender! 2.
Here's Leigh in possession then. Down centre field, the drive is from Martin Aspinwall. Showed it well. Short side ball is for Ridyard, who's just running around off the line before eventually taking the tackle.
Wait here.
Leigh just sniffing out what would potentially be a 6th try. And they've soaked up plenty of second half pressure. We've seen them do that, though, in the first half in particular, and hit back with 3 tries. Can they make it number 6 in the dying embers of this one? The kickers come in, and that's going to cause problems at the back, but it was in the end Scott McAvoy who got back to take it for Whitehaven. Drop out from underneath the Whitehaven post, so they're going to take a quick restart.
Don't think the touch judges were in position. I think that's why he's pulled it back.
They're as quick as you then, Brian, are they?
Exactly. I've been sprinting to and from the sidelines tonight. I hope you have noticed. Not a panting sight either.
Oh, boy.
Well, they're going for the short one here, but they've not got it. It's going to be the Centurions who come up with the football inside the final, 30 seconds here.
Wait! Hold!
I think for Leigh tonight, it's just mission accomplished, isn't it? They've come up here, they've done the job. I mean, it hasn't been an 80-minute performance for them, but probably about 60 minutes of the game, they were the dominant side, and I think they'll be pretty pleased with what they've come away with tonight. Certainly plenty of positives to build on going into next week. But again, from Whitehaven, decent finish to the game. Some positives to draw for them going forward as well.
And there we are, the final hooter at the recreation ground. Leigh just short of that Whitehaven line. And it finishes Whitehaven 14, Leigh Centurions 28. Whitehaven's unbeaten record for the season has come to an end here. But and plenty of effort they put in. The Centurions maybe just that little bit smarter at times. They led 16 points to 6 at the break. And have finished off with that 28 points to 14 success, but end up plenty of encouragement from for Dave Woods. We're looking ahead to next week.
Yeah, and I think, look, if Dave Woods is going to be honest here, in 3 games, to say you've come away with 2 wins out of 3 in life in the championship, I think he would have took that at the start of the season. And again, I think he would have been very disappointed with the first half performance from Whitehaven. They just weren't good enough. And they weren't particularly bad, they just weren't good enough. But a lot of positives to take in that final 20 minutes there. You know, they started to show a little bit more intensity in what they were about, a little bit more fight about it, a bit more character. And like I said, they played some good rugby league at the end there. But for Leigh, very positive performance, Brian, from Leigh.
Yeah, I just think that Leigh's probably problems that Paul would look at was that their discipline in both halves. I think the penalty count was heavily weighted in Whitehaven's favour, so they'll have to look at that. And White changed suddenly in the second half, and the momentum swung back towards Whitehaven, which it clearly did. But in the main, it'd be really, really happy. I think they posted an early message in this competition that they're going to be one of the teams in the Shea Cup.